when you use the word foundation, I don't know how, I'm not really sure. It seems to me that everybody's got a foundation. Everybody's got something that they build their ministry on and their thinking on. And I have read for at least 10 years now all the debate about what is the foundation. Is our theology foundationalist or not? And I have read, basically I feel like John Frame, John Frame, and Doctrine of the Knowledge of God, is really quite nuanced about this. He says your foundation is the Scripture, but it's your understanding of the Scripture. And of course you can't understand the Scripture without understanding it in context. There's a place where John says, you can't understand what a text says and then say, now what does it mean? Now how do I apply it? If you don't know how to apply it, you don't understand what it says. And so I think what John Frame is trying to say there is the Scripture is your foundation, and yet, of course, the minute you start asking a series of questions of the Scripture, you're asking it out of a cultural context. In other words, the questions I ask the Scripture, if I say, what does the Scripture teach? I'm going to ask a different set of questions than a Japanese person is, than a Scottish person is. So our culture does affect the way in which we read the Scripture, and my community does affect the way in which I read the Scripture. But basically, the Scripture is my foundation. I don't know how else can you say? I don't know. I don't know how else you can proceed. I just don't know how else you can proceed. And that is traditional. I say it's traditional Protestant. And I think it happens to be one of the traditions that's right.